Hello everyone and welcome to Impact. I'm Nick Barber, your host for the government segment. My guest today is Robert Sanders. Robert Sanders is a candidate for Schenectady City Council. Hi Bob.
Glad to meet you, Nick.
Yeah. We're friends. We've known each other over the years, as I've known many government people. But you're running for City Council at this point. And which party are you
I'm a Democrat.
affiliated
I've been a Democrat for a while. I'm the ward leader over in Woodlawn. I've been the ward leader for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And to make a long story short, what happened this year is it really goes back into last year. Is the Democratic Party appointed my opponent, and I didn't go along with the appointment, and I more or less said I was going to primary my Democratic opponent, and the Democratic Party didn't like that, and it was a rather trying experience.
Mm-hmm.
I went, how you go to petition route and all that.
Yes.
They sat there, they did the thing where they challenged my petitions,
Mm-hmm.
and they challenged them, and I had to bring them to court, and I brought them to court. I really didn't think they thought I would go to court with an attorney and everything like that, but I had to do it. I had to take a route which was rather peculiar. I got a Republican attorney, James Walsh, very good attorney, and we succeeded there. Judge Riley found my petitions were valid.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the campaign trail now.
Good. Well, it's not unusual or just inherent to you. Anytime a candidate challenges the party endorsement, whether it's a Republican or Democratic organization, the organization really doesn't like it that much when you challenge their appointment or their endorsement. So this has happened many times before. So it got you into a primary. Was it a two-way primary or three-way primary?
It's a two-way primary.
A two-way primary. So what happens now that you went through this experience with the challenge signatures and challenging the party on the endorsement? What happens now from this point on?
Well, you got to get out your gospel message. What you're going to do, what you think is right for the city, and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But life's been a little bit tough for the family and things like that,
Yes.
and I apologize for that to my family. But the important thing is to the Democrats in the city, and I've been trying to tell this at the doorstep, is number one is you don't make appointment by proxy, okay? And as a leader of Woodlawn, I've been trying to say this, is if you're promised something, okay, you just don't always get everything that you're promised. And my opponent, she may have been promised a seat by the mayor, okay, and that just doesn't happen. If that happened in our presidential race, Hillary Clinton would be our president today, and that's just not the way things work. I mean, Vince Riggi won the city council race. They weren't counting on Councilman Riggi winning, okay, or Marion Porterfield would have slid right in. And the Democrats need to rise to the top. When I say the Democrats, all the city Democrats that are elected, that are registered, they need to rise to the top like the cream rises, when you make a batter. Okay, they got to rise to the top, and they got in this primary sit there and say, we are the people that are going to choose the next elected Democrat, not somebody that is handpicked by the mayor or the city chairman.
Well,
how
I
our
mean
process
that's
goes.
not to be naive, but that's the way political parties work. But when you come down to it, the ones that elect the local officials, the city council or other offices, are the voters. So that's why the challenge is important. It's a choice, and it's up to the voters to decide. The party is basically for the endorsement, the organization, maybe some financial help, and the organization backing, but it's the voters. And I think Vince Riggi did prove that. Vince has been a guest on our show, and that was a very interesting story and a very interesting result. What I found interesting was that Vince Riggi won, and Roger Hull, the leader of the ticket, did not win on the mayor's race, so that was pretty interesting. So it goes to show you that the power of the people and the vote is the one that prevails. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think you're going to see the same thing happen here. People are, just a little bit, tired of appointments and no feedback. And if you just take a drive around the city, houses are for sale, and people want to get out. One thing I've said to a lot of people is, it'd be nice if we lowered the assessed value of houses in areas where houses are overassessed. And a lot of people say, well, how are we going to pay our bills? Well, this is how you'll pay them. Even the houses that are for sale, when they finally do sell, they sell for such a low amount that the house that does sell, is going to be assessed for a lower amount anyways. We need to do something with these houses.
That's a good point. Reassessed on sale, the values, market value would be the sale price. So you're saying, well, jump ahead of it and do it before it's sold and just make it fair.
Well, the point too is, you want to attract people into your city. You want to make your city more manageable. And if you attract people in with a lower assessed rate, you're going to have more revenue coming into your city. Because people will want to move into the city. Downtown looks great. It's a beautiful place. Why not make all your neighborhoods beautiful with a lower assessed value?
Well, I've heard it before. We've had guests on this show, and it's great success downtown Metroplex. It did what its purpose was intended to do. We've got a vibrant downtown. We've got good economic development, but now it's the neighborhoods that need the attention. So you've already mentioned a couple of things, but my question to you is, what makes you the best candidate for city council?
Well, in 2002, I ran against Hugh Farley, so I got the knowings of a campaign.
Yes.
I was on the Zoning Board of Appeals, 12 years as a leader in Woodlawn on the executive committee, both city and county. I was a lobbyist for the environmental planning lobby, and for childcare. So I have a lot of just political experience behind me. I ran for the county legislature when I was a Republican.
Yes.
So I have a lot of experience behind me just as a politician.
So you've been out there, you know the system.
I know the
You've
system.
experienced elections. You've worked on other campaigns too, other than yours. So you've got a lot of knowledge and experience in how it works.
Absolutely. It's like Angelo Santa Barbara. When people, his last run, when people just thought he wasn't going to run, I put my full hard-earned effort into that run. And if the Democratic Assembly Committee just put a little bit of money behind him, he would have won. But they didn't, and he just came so close to winning. Such a good candidate, Angelo is, and most likely he'll win and go into the assembly this year. And now everyone's high on him. And I could go on and tell stories like that.
Yes.
About how I've always helped other candidates win. But I've been there. I know what it takes to make a candidate win. And I truly do think, my resources, I'm not going to lie to you, are limited because I don't have the party backing.
Yes.
But there are people helping me.
Yes.
And they're in different corners. But after the primary, and if I'm fortunate enough to win, there'll be a huge amount of people helping me.
That is so true. I remember when Al D'Amato ran for United States Senator, when he had to run a primary with Jacob Javits. Javits was ill, and probably wasn't a good idea for him to run. But D'Amato was in Schenectady, and he said, after I got the endorsement, immediately after I got the endorsement, and I was the anointed candidate, he said the money started rolling in. He says, I didn't believe, the corporations and the companies and the contributions that came in, because they wanted to support a winner for United States Senate. So once you get that endorsement and you're the sole candidate, then you're going to get the support. But the tough road in the battle is to get there. And that's
Right.
what you've experienced. So that's your story is the interesting story that you challenge a political party for the endorsement, and you've succeeded in court on your signatures, and now it's on to a primary.
Right.
And the primary's in September?
September 13th.
Yeah. So,
September 13th is
yeah.
the day.
yeah. Would you do anything different?
I don't think I could do anything different. I think like it goes back to what I said in the beginning. It's the Democrats in the city of Schenectady that get to make the ultimate decision now. They get to, decide what they want to do with this city. Okay, what kind of government do they want? And I think that's very, very important. Do they want the same government they've had, okay, or do they want to switch and move on to a better type of government, okay, where we can cut back, scale back on things. Why, like in the county of Schenectady, if you go to use a vehicle, it parks in the lot. No one drives a vehicle home. The county manager, the county attorney, they don't drive a car home. Why, in God's earthly name, are people in the city of Schenectady driving cars at all home? I don't understand it. I never will understand it. It makes no sense at all. Okay, it just shouldn't happen. And with their insurance and things like that, they should follow the same kind of insurance program that the county has with their medical scripts and things like that from Canada and stuff like that. Why aren't they doing that? It would just make more sense. It would save millions of dollars. And why aren't they doing that? I mean, just why? It would be the first question I would ask.
Something to look into. I know the county government went to the Canadian drug plan, and there was a huge cost savings. Don't know about the city, but I guess that's something to look into.
I could tell you personally, from a person who has epilepsy, that needs drugs, okay, that has to have drugs, that Canadian drug program is great for me. If I had to, go on to another drug program, I'd be paying thousands of dollars, so it's great being a county employee and having that program. Why the city isn't doing it and what kind of program they got, I just don't understand it. They need to really seriously look at the county program and run off that county program.
Well, something to look into. When you're out on the streets, and you have been because you had to do the primary petition, so there's extra work, but in a primary, that's a good thing because it makes you work harder.
Right.
And you get more time and exposure into the final goal. When you're out on the street, what do people ask you? What's on their minds in the neighborhoods? What are their biggest complaints? You talked about taxes, quality of life in the neighborhoods, crime. But what are the people thinking? Say out in your
people generally like the city. They like the city in a whole, and they're willing to live in the city. It's the cost of living in the city. How much you got to pay for your house, and what your house is worth. That's the number one issue. But I truly believe that we can, take that problem and fix that problem, and that all goes down to dealing with the assessment. I know somewhere in the assessor's office they got the last assessment rolls and how much houses are worth. Now you go up Palsy Drive, houses are worth $179,000. If you go up farther up my street, there's no way that that's right. There's just no way that's right.
Well, revaluation costs a lot of money too, so that's an economic thing. If the city went and revalued the whole city, they'd have to pay a contractor to do it. So
I don't think they need to go that route.
Yeah.
I really don't. They could sit there and they could just knock off $2,000 right off the bottom.
Well, they can do an in-house uniform thing, and I guess that's what you're suggesting.
Absolutely. I mean, this is not rocket science here.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know people up the street, and they got nice houses, but they're not going to sell them for $179,000. It just isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not reality.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of dream world they're in. It's just not reality.
Yeah.
When I lived, 30 houses down the road, and mine's assessed for 143. I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Well, that's something you got to look into when you get elected. So, Bob, if someone wants to reach you and talk about the issues, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, you could reach me on my website. It's like the last name, Sanders, Sanders, for the number, U the letter, @juno.com.
Sanders for you, at juno.com.
At juno.com.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Bob. We've been visiting with Bob Sanders, Robert Sanders, a candidate for Schenectady City Council on a Democratic ticket. There's a primary in September. Bob, one other thing, I mean, the revenue from taxes is the main revenue for cities, but also state aid. Is there something we can do about getting more money from the state and federal government? And we only got about a few
Absolutely.
short time.
We need to make sure that we get a Democratic Assembly member in. Okay, it's very important, and that our state senator is a Democratic state senator, because there is things that we could do that would make sure we get more revenue. Why is Utica getting more money than us? Why? I mean, they don't get a little bit. They get like $7 million more than us. Can you imagine if Schenectady had $7 million more? If the mayor had $7 million more in his back pocket right now, how better off Schenectady would be? Why doesn't Schenectady hire a lobbyist too? You know, just for certain items.
There's an idea.
You know, I mean, there's things, you know, to go and talk to those state senators to put certain items forward.
Okay.
You know, I mean, there's things we really got to think and talk about.
Nice. You have some good issues. We're running out of time, Bob. I want to thank you, Robert Sanders, candidate for City Council, City of Schenectady. Wish you good luck in your campaign, and thanks for joining us today. Thanks, Bob.
Have a good day.
You've been watching Impact. This is Nick Barber, your host, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Remember, we always love to hear from you here at Impact, so contact us by email at impact@proctors.org or go to Facebook, enter Impact Show, and like us. Thank you.
Proctors, bringing the best in arts, education, and entertainment.